Hello everyone, it's Justine. Today I'm going to be making one card using the small die of the month from Spellbinders from 2022 for December. And I will also show you two more that I've made with the same die at the end of the video. So stick around and you can see all three. I went ahead and made a couple different layering pieces for my background of my card. First I have this black cardstock that I already put onto a card base. Then I have a silver mirrored cardstock, and for that one I used, for both pieces actually, I used the embossing folder that is one of the 3D embossing folders from Spellbinders. This was E3D-039, and as you can see it's kind of one of the bigger ones, so you can use it for slimline cards. But for this one I just had some little pieces. Then I went ahead and die cut out the actual die. So it came with this piece that to me kind of reminds me of a rug and this background heart piece that goes right on top, and then the stitched heart goes right there. So the die itself is called Stitched Heart Card Front, so it's the front of the card, although you could just use the stitched heart and make a card with several hearts on it, or you could use this and put a stamp here, or use just this and put a sentiment right on top. So there's a couple different possibilities, but I really liked how it all looked together, so that's what I'm going to do on this one. Now, speaking of sentiments, I have this sentiment here, and I just pulled in the stamp set for December. So we have a small die, and then there's also the stamp of the month. So I have here, this is called My Forever Person. So I think that this one is perfect for some Valentine's cards, anniversary, weddings, and I have at least one card that I'm going to be making with this. So if you're interested in seeing what else I can do with this besides just this sentiment on this card, go ahead and check out that video, which should be coming sometime in December. Anyway, I really love the love stamp letters because I think they're very intricate. I have stamped them out with some embossing powder, and that looks gorgeous. I want to try using some of my Copics and coloring in there, but I have not yet. And this main heart is just so pretty, and with some coloring that would be gorgeous. So let's get on with this card. So I'm just going to layer from the bottom up. So I have my black already on there. I'm going to use my silver next. So what I did was I lined up the lines from my embossing folder so it will match the background of the black. Hopefully that is able to be seen on camera. But I know sometimes people will just actually adhere the silver to the black paper without the card base and then put it in the embossing sandwich like this together and then have it come out, but I really didn't think about that until afterwards. But this embossing folder is really just gorgeous. I love both sides. You can kind of see that with the silver mirrored cardstock, it is just stunning. It kind of reminds me of like a mechanic shop or some kind of metal work, but it's just really pretty. Even on the black, there's just so much texture with these 3D embossing folders. So just had to pull that one in there for us today. So to put it on, I'm just using this crafter's tape, really nothing fancy. You could also use the double-sided tape that comes in the card kits. I've been using these up a lot. I've been making a lot of quick cards for a craft sale that I'm going to be going to soon, and I've been loving using that tape. So use up what you got. It's my little advice here for you. So that's all lined up. Then I'm going to put on what I like to call the rug. And this card is kind of a more modern take on a lovey-dovey card with the black and the pink and the silver. It just kind of reminds me of something kind of punky, if you will. But I have some other ones that are a little more traditionally minded for Valentine's Day. Now for my liquid glue here, I'm going to be using Bearly Art liquid glue. I love this glue. If you've watched some of my videos, you've seen that. Occasionally there will be a tiny clog, but it's nothing that this needle can't really figure out with a couple swipes through. And see, we're good to go. So I'll put some on the main heart here, just kind of all over. Then I will focus on the border, which is a little thicker than the cross parts. I love this die because it kind of reminds me of a quilt, and I like the quilty theme that we've got going on here. I've been working on a couple other quilty cards, so those will be coming up later this month on my channel. If you have seen any of the coming soon section from Spellbinders, you'll know exactly what die and stamp that I will be using with those, or at least the collection. Maybe not the exact die, but I think those are gorgeous. And those are from Becca Feakin. I finally learned how to say her name. It's not difficult, I just was having a moment when I first tried it. Alright, here we go. Put it right on my card and try to get it straight and centered is the goal. So for the actual stitching part of this card, for these sections here, it's basically just going across, across, across. So it's a very quick stitch for each circle. But since you cannot go from shape to shape, every time I made a circle here, I had to end the string and start again. So this one does take a little bit of time, but if you're interested in making this card, it's definitely worth your time. But it definitely left me with a lot of little tails. So if you can see here, I'm just going to take my tool-in-one and just poke those in. I think that's the only area I see any issues with. And then the actual heart itself was just going from the outside to the center over and over, and you can see I just moved my string down and then moved my string up to the next one. So if you have not stitched on cards before and you are wondering, well, how did you do that? I do have a whole playlist on my channel of how I stitch on cards, and the basic idea is the same for almost every stitched die. You go out or up through the outside area, down through the center, and it's basically just making this circle area just coming from up the outside, down through the center, over and over. And it's something that's pretty simple, and if you are someone who likes to add a little bit of flair to your cards, I definitely recommend trying stitching. I feel like everyone has a little bit of embroidery thread somewhere in their craft room. Or, you know, you could even just use thread if you're a sewer, and it would be a thinner stitch, but still a stitch. Alright, so that is on. By itself, this would make a really beautiful card, but I want to add a little sentiment because why not? And I think it's good to tie in some of that pink from the stitching to the card, since the card background is pretty dark. Okay. When I stamped that, I just used a basic black ink that I had in my stash. I think it was just the Lawn Fawn black ink. Nothing fancy. I recently got these from Simon Hurley. They were sent to me from Ranger, and they're very colorful. So I should try these out soon. I definitely am going to use this Tropical Tango one on one of my quilting cards that's coming up here because the color matched one of my Copic markers perfectly, and I colored with it. Alright, I'm not sure if I want to add bling to this card. I think I'm going to skip the bling on this one. I know I love bling, but I just feel like with the background it's kind of flashy enough. So I'm just going to leave that there. And here are the 2 other cards that I made. I used the same sentiment from that same stamp set. That is the My Forever Person. And this one I just made more of like a red toned one, and this was a pink purpley card. So you can see with the gems, the stitched area looks really pretty, but even without the gems on this one, you can get a really beautiful look. So let me know which one is your favorite. I think if I had to choose, I would choose the red, just because it's kind of a classic take on a Valentine's Day card. And I know some people might think, well, why is December the lovey-dovey theme? So let's just say you get it at the end of December sometime. Now you have the whole month of January to make your Valentine's Day cards. So that's kind of the purpose of why the club items are pre-season of what's actually going on in life. So another example was Christmas. The Christmas club items came out a couple months before Christmas and the holiday season because you want to prepare for it. So this is preparing you for Valentine's Day. Anyway, even if you don't celebrate Valentine's Day, these would make beautiful wedding cards, anniversary cards, whatever it might be. I think if you sent this to someone, it would be very cheerful, and I know that even my husband would love these. I think this would make a great anniversary card. I might have to send one to my dad to give to my mom. I guess we'll see. Anyway, let me know which one is your favorite. And if you've liked this video, go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for more videos in the future. Oh, I totally forgot to say. Now, if you see this one, I didn't actually stitch on the circles. So I only stitched the heart, and you can see that even without stitching on the circles, it makes a beautiful card just by adding a little gem in there. So just thought I should mention that before I go. So here's 3 different takes on this stitched heart card front die. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!